A recent post on CNEV Post, the website called CNEV Post, I'll put a link in the description below, talks about huge problems with Mercedes EQC electric vehicles. Apparently, now 300 owners have united in protest against Mercedes and what they are calling a very defective motor. Here is the news, here's what's happening, and here is my take on what has gone on. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. I'm coming to you here from Melbourne, Australia. Welcome to all you new subscribers. Great to have you here on the channel. It's awesome to see so many new subscribers. Welcome back to everyone else. So, Mercedes. Well, my first point here, and this is very much an opinion, I don't know why you would buy Mercedes EQC full stop. To be honest, I've looked at the car, I've looked at its specifications, I've looked at its price. And in China, there are so many better options. I really think, if you're in a country, say, Germany or somewhere like that, where there's not a lot of choice and, everything's fairly expensive right now, those prices will lower over time. And maybe other wait lists are long. So you go, okay, well, I'll buy one of these. I understand that. But in China, you'd have to have rocks in your head to buy this car. Looking at the specs and the price compared to its competition, it just doesn't make sense. And that's probably the reason why Mercedes haven't sold very many of them. Now, to give you some context on their actual sales numbers, Mercedes sold about 6,000 EQC models in China in the entire year of 2021, with sales of around 800 in December 2021. Now, NIO delivered 10,500 EVs in China in December 2021 alone. XPeng 16,000, Tesla 70,000, BYD 47,000 and another 45,000 plug-in hybrids. You can see here Mercedes is certainly a very small player in the electric vehicle industry in China. And yes, that includes all models. They don't sell many EVs there, full stop. Now, getting to the issue. According to this post in Shanghai, China, at least 68 owners of the Mercedes-Benz EQC had joined forces to send a message to Mercedes. The group says it's requesting that Mercedes reply to a statement it delivered related to the EQC's faulty electric motor. Now, I've got to say, these owners probably expect a certain level of quality for paying a lot of money for a vehicle, so I kind of understand where they're coming from. Now, the joint statement explains that these owners were advised to have their EQC's motor and or power battery replaced following at least a few motor failures. Now, the group expects Mercedes to announce that the problem exists and to shed light on it. More specifically, the automaker should disclose the defects publicly and issue an official recall. In other words, the group saying, Mercedes, recall these motors. We know they're having similar problems. Time for you to fix that problem before they go bust and stop working on us, basically. Now, despite the group's 68 EQC owners, information has been tossed around by owners on social media as well as local media in China. Now, some 300 owners have been involved in protests of the issue and how Mercedes has handled it so far. Moreover, the people in the group have shared that over 150 people have reported issues. So, some people who love Mercedes are saying there's only one of these that have done this. Well, sorry, no. 150 people have reported issues. That's a lot. That's not one. That's 150. Now, based on the CNEV Post article, most impacted owners noticed a vehicle reminder asking them to refill the coolant. Impacted owners explained that the reminder typically comes about 1 to 2 months before the EQC's potential motor failure, and owners also noticed a notable decrease in the coolant level. Now, I've got to say, this is a brand new car. This is not a 4-year-old car. These cars have only been around for 12 months. So if you already need to replace the coolant in these motors, then there's something wrong with it. They definitely need to issue a recall. You can't just fill the coolant up in your electric car every few months. It's meant to be a closed circuit system. In a Tesla vehicle and other electric cars, the circuit is closed. You never touch this coolant. So the fact that the owners are being asked to refill the coolant or to take the car into a dealership for them to refill the coolant means there's clearly something going wrong with these EQC motors. Now, Mercedes-Benz dealerships in China have added coolant in an attempt to solve the problem. However, according to local reports, the additional coolant can enter the EQC's motor and cause a failure. In addition, the EQC's touchscreen may issue a fault warning. Now, Inside EVs says that new EQC owners in China are paying a premium for the electric SUV, due in part to the fact that it's produced by Mercedes. But Sorry, Inside EVs, I don't agree with you, and I'll get to that in a second. However, it's problems like these that may be working to tarnish the iconic brand as it moves towards electrification at a pretty slow pace, I should say. Now, the brand, as part of its joint venture with BAIC Motor, already recalled nearly 800 EQC vehicles in China for an unrelated problem. Now, getting back to this claim that this is a vehicle produced by Mercedes, well, I think it's not. BAIC Motor, which is a company based in China, actually manufacture these vehicles. Mercedes has nothing to do with either the production of the vehicle or the motor. I mean, honestly, that's the truth. Mercedes does own a percentage in this joint venture, but they don't actually manufacture these vehicles, and they don't manufacture these motors in-house either. I think it's just fair to clear that up. When you buy a so-called premium vehicle from Legacy Auto in China, it's made by Chinese companies, usually state-owned ones. Not all of them, but most of them are. Now, another claim made by Inside EVs. They're saying that it's important to note that EV customers in China have gone to bat in protest against Tesla in the past. Many of their claims were later found to be exaggerated. That is true. I have to agree with that. Now, hopefully we'll have more information about this potential issue with the EQC in the near future, especially if a recall is issued, which I think it will probably be. I mean, if they're having to put coolant in these motors now, I mean, this is clearly a problem and there's something wrong with it. Now, with Teslas and BMWs and Hyundai electric vehicles, the coolant is actually a closed loop system and it's sealed. So if it's not defective or leaking, it shouldn't need refilling at all. Now, I would say that due to this, the EQCs in this case in China are defective, and I think the claimants have a pretty good point. Now, battery-powered vehicles are not like ICE vehicles. In an ICE vehicle, cooling systems for most cars are not actually sealed, and coolant can boil off or evaporate, so they have a mechanism for people to actually refill the coolant. So, with your gas car, you can actually open up the coolant, pour in some of that green liquid, and you've refilled your coolant. Well, electric cars don't have that option. It's actually a closed-off system. So clearly, these owners of these cars can't just open up the coolant when their electric Mercedes EQC says you need to refill the coolant. They can't refill it. They've got to take it to a dealership. The dealership's got to go, what's going on here? This is strange. How do we even refill? I don't know how they'd even refill it, considering usually for these cars, as far as I know, there isn't a refilling area for this coolant because it's a closed circuit system. So clearly, even if you love Mercedes, you have to say there's some sort of defect going on here, and Mercedes needs to fix it. Or at least BAIC Motor, who manufacture the cars for Mercedes, need to fix it. Now, honestly, things in my view are not really going that well for Legacy Auto right now in China. They're selling very few electric vehicles, for one. That's a big problem. The only company selling any real significant number of EVs that is part of Legacy Auto in China is Volkswagen. And even they're only selling about 14,000 a month. That's pretty small peanuts in the Chinese market when you consider the actual competitors, how many they're selling, which are just boatloads of the things. Now, personally, why does China matter? Why do I talk about China? Well, because China is the largest car market in the world by a big margin, and that is only going to grow. Think about their population, think about the number of people in China who own a car. It's actually very low in comparison to the West. There's a way more room for growth in terms of Chinese car sales, full stop, than there are in any other country in the world right now. That's the reality. The other thing is, obviously, the electric car market. China's electric car market is way bigger than any other electric car market in the world. So it's extremely important and it's growing at an incredible rate. It's poised to double this year. That would mean around 7 million EVs will be sold in China this year alone. Now that's 10% of the entire global automotive industry. Now, if Legacy Auto doesn't play a big part in that, well, that means their sales will shrink. And experiences like this for owners, probably would suggest to you there won't be a whole lot of new Mercedes EQC owners over the next few months. I could be wrong. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Am I being too harsh? Am I being too hard here on Mercedes? I don't know. I mean, personally, I'm not a big fan of the EQC. I've looked at the specs. I've looked at how much it costs. I don't think it's that good. But maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think these Mercedes vehicles are impressive. Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know if you think I'm being too harsh. Let me know what you think about what Legacy Auto is doing in China as well. Thanks for watching the video, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next one. Bye-bye.